All right, in the last video, we talked about how line height and font size can affect readability in a block of text. We also talked about different font families and how they can affect readability. We talked about sans serif versus serif, and how sometimes, especially when dealing with big blocks of text on the web, sans serif is ideal for big blocks of copy. They're easier to read on the screen simply because the serifs have a tendency to mush together with the bodies of the letters and create more of a condensed little blob instead of making nice clear characters or nice clear letters. Sans serif doesn't have that problem. We can have a very nice clear character even as we scale down in size. It's still even easy to read at this size. So I'm going to go back to my regular size here. I have set my body copy, the font size, to be 0.8 em and my line height to be 1.4 em. And I've found that to be very readable, actually quite a nice size. Now, I want to talk about how line length can affect readability. Let's say if I go to column 2 and I make it a lot narrower. I'm just going to set the width to 25%, from 55 to 25. This becomes harder to read, and I'll tell you why. What happens when we read is we get into a rhythm. As we read along a line, we have a tendency to get into a rhythm and get a comfortable pace. Now, if the lines are this short, we find ourselves getting to an end of a line and going to the beginning of a line so often that we don't develop a good reading rhythm and we don't get a good flow to the document. So it becomes harder to read and harder to comprehend if we don't get that good rhythm. Rhythm is really important for reading. So we had it at 55%, I believe. So let's go back to normal. Now, let's say we have lines that are too long, maybe 85%. We might have some problems here, but we'll just see. So if we get lines that are up to 85% long, like this, what happens is they become hard to read because we end up double reading a line. We'll get to an end, and it's hard to tell where the next line begins. So sometimes you'll get back to the beginning of the same line or skip down over a line. It's really hard to read long lines of text because it's hard to locate where the next line begins. Generally speaking, about 450 pixels wide is ideal. This is approximately 450 pixels. We can also, if you want to put this into inches, anywhere between 4 and 6 inches is ideal reading length. And this is approximately 6 inches per line here. And where I have my pick box showing up, it forces it to about 4 inches per line. So it's a nice, comfortable reading width. Okay? So that's line length and how that affects readability. So we dealt with font size, line height, in other words, the distance between one line and another. We've dealt with different types of fonts and how they affect readability, so sans serif being really good for body copy on the web. And then line length. We want to keep it around that 4 to 6 inches length, 475 pixels, 450 pixels wide, anywhere in there. That's a good width for readability for the screen. On the next video, I'm going to talk about using subheads and using different colors to create contrast and emphasis.